What's up, guys? Welcome back to Shifting Lanes. My name is Gregson. That is my 2005 Volvo V70R. If you know this channel, you know it well. And it's gonna be a Mustang killer. Let me explain. So before I begin, I actually have noticed a really weird trend here on Shifting Lanes. Almost 90% of you guys that watch this channel don't subscribe to this channel. So why don't you guys just go ahead, hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and then you'll be notified every time we make a new video. So yeah, hit the subscribe button. Don't know why that is, but if you're already watching, just subscribe. You'll know every time we make a video. And yeah, just hang out because we're trying to make good stuff for you. So as I said, this is my 2005 Volvo V70R, and if you watched our video the other day, which you can see in the card above me, Chad just bought a 2015 Mustang GT, 420 horsepower, I think near 400 foot-pounds of torque, which actually is very close to this thing. So I'm gonna hop in and we're gonna talk about Chad's Mustang purchase, my M3 purchase, and the V70R, and the M3 E46 challenge because, well, just hang on, let me hop in and we'll explain. Well, I have a coffee now, so I can actually form coherent sentences, and you guys can actually hear me talk in an appropriate manner that would be fitting of a human being. With that said, let's set off, and I'm gonna talk to you about this video that Chad made, because if you saw the title of this video, yeah, it's like that. As we set off, I wanted to explain to you what's happening in case you didn't go and watch Chad's video. So Chad bought a 2015 Mustang GT. It's a really nice car. I've driven plenty of Mustang GTs and Mustangs across their lineup, from the S550 generation, the GT350, the GT, the EcoBoost. I'd love to get in a GT500, but that remains to be seen if that's ever gonna happen. Whatever. His car is very nice. It has the performance pack on it. It definitely handles very well, and we're going to do a group drive of that very soon between Chad, myself, and Hanson, along with the M3. I just bought a 2011 BMW E90 M3, the four-door, so it's a little bit more dad sedan-ish, dad wagon, dad sedan, yeah. So basically what Chad wants to do is take on the M3. As it sits, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Chad can beat the M3. The M3 is sitting on KW sleeves, which basically gives it a much more planted feel. It also has a ESS 625 supercharger on it, producing 625 horsepower at the crank, and Chad has a stock Mustang. So as it sits, there's no way that Chad's car can beat the M3. Now, I was actually going to make another video today, sort of getting on this topic. I was going to tell you guys what it's like to daily drive over 1,000 horsepower, and I'm gonna make that video for next week because I wanted to respond to Chad. That video is basically gonna be what it's like to daily drive this car and the M3, because together, that's over 1,000 horsepower, and no one really daily drives that kind of horsepower. So I wanted to give you a first-hand POV experience of what it's like to daily drive those two cars. That's coming next week. I actually saw Chad's video. I wanted to make this video to respond to him because it needed to be responded to. So Chad, well, if you haven't seen the video, this is what Chad said.
Like I mentioned before, Greg has the most powerful, fastest car in the Shifting Lanes fleet, and that is the, well, his supercharged BMW M3, and well, I just can't live with that. I cannot. It's Greg. The guy is probably the slowest freaking driver in Shifting Lanes, and he has the fastest car. And did I mention, because he sure as hell hasn't, it's an automatic. I mean, sure, dual clutch transmission, but there is no clutch pedal. So he got a cheater trans. I need to outpower him, and by a pretty significant margin, because unlike Greg, I'm not a sissy, and I have a proper manual in my car. Greg's car is definitely got to go down. So if you want to see that snooty, automatic, just European mess, well, it's not a mess. It's actually in really good shape, but this is all American muscle, baby, and it's got an independent rear suspension, so it handles as good as it goes. This needs to be faster.
Yes, copious amounts of trash talking as it should be, especially when you buy cars and you have friends, and especially friends on channel that you started a business with, and they have cars and you want to pit them against each other. Great. I think that's an awesome idea. Superchargers for Mustangs ain't cheap, and we don't have that kind of money right now. So what is there to do? I mean, obviously we're going to put the Mustang against the M3 as it sits regardless. I think that's sort of a given in the spring once this crummy winter weather goes away. However, this car has 450 horsepower at the crank. That's close to the Mustang. It has about the same amount of torque. It's sitting on BC coilovers and will soon be sitting on a different suspension, making it a little bit better and closer to the Performance Pack 2. So I suggest that we put this car up against the Mustang, and here's my deal for you guys. I've been searching for that E46 M3 forever. It's been probably 2 years. I think it's over 2 years now that I've been looking for this car to try to, you know, pit against this thing. The whole reason I bought this car was because Volvo called it an M3 killer when they brought these out, the S60R and the V70R. They weren't. That bothered me ever since the beginning, and I wanted to see what it took at a minimum to make it into an E46 M3 killer for a stock E46 M3. That's the whole reason behind this build. If you don't know, that's why I bought this car. I fell in love with this car once I bought it. I didn't always love Volvos the same way that I do now. I thought Volvos were very cool. I used to watch them in the British touring cars, but I never got into them the same way I am now, and I just bought this thing and I fell in love with it, and that's how I really got into Volvo. With that being said, if this video, now we're a smaller-ish channel, so this is it's gonna sound like a low number, but if this video gets 500 likes, that's it. That's all we need, 500 likes. We have 38,000 subs, guys. I think this video can get 500 likes. If we get 500 likes, I will actively stop looking for an E46 M3, and I will wipe Chad's smile off his face with the Volvo, and this will be a Mustang versus V70R battle. And after that, maybe I'll look for another E46 M3 or something. But I will put all of my efforts into whooping Chad's ass. If we can get 500 likes, if you guys think you want to see that, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and just let me know in the comments. Do you want to see that? Because I think that'll be a little bit more interesting than some random E46 M3 that we don't even know the person. So that's why I wanted to make this video today, because Chad just seems way too smug, and I don't like when Chad is smug. I mean, for me, on paper, this car should beat the Mustang too. I mean, on paper, it should be the E46 as it sits. It's got way more power. It's got over 100 horsepower on the E46 M3 right now. So at least in a straight line, and from a dig, and from 0 to 60 and whatever, in a straight line, this car, in theory and on paper, smash an E46 M3. The all-wheel drive, it really helps, especially when you're talking about on a strip or on the street. You get a lot of wheel spin in some rear-wheel drive cars. It's not great putting the power down. This does put the power down. Yeah, I just think beating Chad with a 15-year-old wagon to his 5-year-old, you know, sports car, because technically the Mustang is a sports car, and you know, congratulations to Chad having a Mustang that doesn't have a metal filing cabinet for a rear suspension, so good job. Either way, I think this thing would still wipe the pavement with it, and when we do it, we can bring the M3 to the strip and the track at the same time, and you know, just destroy both of them with the M3. So this thing, I believe, needs a little bit more to be able to really compete with the Mustang. As it sits, I think it can compete pretty well. The BC coilovers are pretty good, but we actually have KW coils that we're going to announce very soon and install this spring. So we're going to put those on, and after those go on, no chance, because KWs, as everyone in the car community knows, are one of the be-all end-alls for handling. So they make KW coils for this car, and we're going to have them. So that's the first thing. The next thing is we have about 450 horsepower in this car. The best thing to do is add a little bit more power. We don't need a ton more power. I think if we add meth and do a little retune, we can probably shoot for about 400 at the wheels. We're making 363 at the wheels as it stands. So I think another 30, well, 25 to 40 horsepower is very attainable with a retune and some meth, because this thing is not boosting to where it can be. You know, we're only boosting to 20 psi in this thing, and we can get it to 23 psi still safely enough to not really jeopardize the internals, the new turbo, and anything like that. So I think that's the best course of action. A little bit more suspension tuning and or suspension install, because different is suspension, and a little bit more power, and then I think we can basically just smash the Mustang. As it sits, I think it can beat it, but I think, you know, I want to make sure it's going to beat it. So we may do some things. Ben McNally, where you at? So the weather's got progressively worse, but I have the window down, mostly because I got to get you guys those good sound clips. So it's overpass time. The Mercedes in front of me is going 2 miles an hour. That was definitely not as good as I thought it would be. That's better. All right, so as we are pulling in here back to the office, yeah, that'll do. So here's the deal. Like I said, if this video gets 500 likes, then I will beat down Chad in every way imaginable. Track, Auto X, roll race, drag strip, dyno, whatever. I want to challenge Chad. So let's get 500 likes in this video, and I want to hear what you guys want us to do. Obviously, everything I just said, I think that's a given, but do you guys have any other ideas for us to do this challenge? So Volvo V70R versus Mustang GT, 10 years apart, Swedish inline 5 power versus American V8 power. I think that's going to be really, really cool. So that'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow us on social media, it is all in the description below on Instagram, Facebook, and anything else. It is at Shifting Lanes. You can follow me at Real Gregson M, even though I barely post anything. If you want to follow us on Drive Tribe, head over to Drive Tribe and search for the Shifting Lanes Tribe. We put all of our videos there, and we write about the daily news. Thanks again for watching. My name is Gregson, and I will catch you next time. See ya. Chat sucks.